everybody, and welcome to Naturally Kim's Knitting. Today is St. Patrick's Day. I have my green on. Life is good. So today is Thursday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, as I said, and this is episode 7. I'd like to give a great big hello and a welcome to all my regular viewers. I'm so glad that you've come back and visited with me. Um, I'd also like to put a hello out there to any new viewers and welcome you to please sign in on my Ravelry book page. I am offering something in a little bit which it'll be beneficial if you are a member of my Ravelry book page. So just go on there, introduce yourself, say who you are, where you're from. I'll give you a shout out next time and you'll be eligible for drawings and things in the future and my special offer that I'm offering today. So, I just want to say a big hello. I love you. Welcome. Big hugs and all that. And I'll be back in just a minute with my things that are on my needles. Okay, now this is the section of my show which I call Finished Projects. No, I'm sorry, on the needles. Looking at my show notes, I'm thinking, no, I do on the needles first. And I do. I'd like to share with you some of the things that I have either started or I've continued on this past week. Um, Yesterday, my husband is a meat manager of a chain of supermarkets in the area. And so twice a year, they have a food show. And they usually have it in a nice hotel and a nice convention center. And that's where we were yesterday and the day before. So I was able to get a little bit of knitting done whenever I'm not walking around. The food shows are fun because you get to walk around and you get to see some of the things that the vendors are trying to get into the stores or some of the special things that they're coming up with for the season. Anyways, if you're there towards the end of the show, lots of samples of freebies too, but you know, I didn't really care too much for the samples this year, except for a couple which I might mention in a little bit. Anyway, so while I was there, I was able to work on my socks, my plain socks. These are going to be for the for the soup kitchen or the men's rescue mission here in town. They're just a plain sock. In fact, I got my fish lips heels done on this one yesterday, and I just started the heel on this one, so you really can't tell. But I love these. I've been making these out of, I have skein right here, Knit Pick Stroll Tweed. And this is in the Farmhouse Heather. And you can see the little flecks of color in there. So nice. It's so soft to work with. I love this. Oh, and this would be a good time to announce it. I'll try to announce at the end too. I'm an affiliate with Knit Picks. So if you click on the Knit Picks links in my show notes, it'll take you right here, and you can get some wonderfully soft knit yarn. And I get paid for this, which will help me improve the podcast, buy things for knit-alongs and gifts and things like that also. So please click on that. And I'm also an Amazon affiliate. So if you go to my show notes and you see Amazon links and there's something you want to buy, click on it through my link and same thing. It will help to pay for shipping, pay for improvements, things like that. It's all going to go back into the podcast, whether it's for prizes or whatever. So anyways, so that's that. Now, let's see. I also, no, that's not on the needle. I was going to show a finished item. I am working on a project. I'm not going to show you what it is. It is a cowl, but I'm not going to show you what it is yet. I am just going to let you see the yarn I'm using. I used to do pattern testing for Southwest Trading Company's yarn, and they have the softest yarn, and I believe it's mostly natural things. This is called Tofutsi, yeah. And I've made socks out of this, but I started thinking think I will love the drape of this in a cowl. I have more of this. I might be making shawls and things like that out of it too. But this has chitin, which is great for, it's an antibacterial, but it also can help with inflammation and things like that. It's a 50% superwash wool, 25% soy silk fibers, and 22.5% cotton, and 2.5% chitin. It's a wonderful yarn. It's machine washable and dryable. 100-gram ball. It's really nice. What colorway is this? I didn't even look at that. I have a dye lot. I'm just not seeing the colorway. I'll have to get on their website and look it up. Anyway, Southwest Trading Company is where I get this from. They're a good company to deal with. I've worked with the owner for, like I said, quite a few years. Now, that's all that's on my needles this week. Believe it or not. I'm going to start a hat today. Excuse me. Another chemo hat, but I just haven't started it yet. Got home late last night. I didn't want to start something else. But I have talked on and off about how I have taken up spindling. I'm not great at it, but I have started it, and I've got some on my turkey spindle here right now. And I got this fiber, this roving, from the craft shop. It was an eBay store. This one is a pretty good fiber. It works really well, and let me show you the beautiful, beautiful colors in this. It's lots. I love purple, and it's lots of purples, and there's a little pink and off-white, and it works up really nicely. Like I said, it's from. There we go. So it's good. Like I said, when I get better. Excuse me, I dropped something. When I get better with my spindling, I'll be showing you more and more and more. Okay, since that's all that's on my needle. Oh no, I forgot my big project. Oh my goodness. So I've told you I've been making this sweater for my daughter. Now this is as far as I had gotten last week. From last week, I've made it all the way through the end of the back. So this is the back, and yes, it's lacy, it stretches. It's really a beautiful pattern. And I've started on the left front. Sorry, get turned around the right way. So this is working out quickly. Like I said yesterday, I was just too tired to work on it, and I didn't take it with me to the food show. We were there for 2 days. So, you know, when you miss out on 2 days of knitting, you don't get as far as you'd like to. Anyways, that kimono, I'm going to butcher the name. But it's the Risu Kanabira, and it's in the Knit Kimono 2 book. Okay? There's links on my show notes to each of these things. In fact, there's a link for the exact pattern that'll take you to a picture of it on Ravelry. So, it's not hard to do. It does have a chart to follow, but the chart is not difficult. It's a beautiful lace pattern, and I just really love it. I didn't tell you what I'm knitting this on. It's cottonish. That's what the name of it is. And I had the label, and it must have fallen. It's Bernat Cottonish, and it's in the Seersucker colorway. I am using, let's see, I gotta get the needle size right. I am sorry. US 9, 5.5 millimeter, 24-inch circular needles, and then for the edging, it'll be US size 7, 4.5 millimeter. If you see me looking over to the side, I'm trying to put my show notes on half the screen so I don't forget things. You can see how well it's been working today. Those socks that I was knitting, by the way, those are on US 1, 2.25 millimeter. What else was I knitting? Oh, and the cowl, I'll let you know more details about that as it gets farther along. Okay. Honestly, I don't know what's wrong today. I'm just not totally here today. Okay, well, I do know what's wrong. I had 2 nights where I just did not sleep well, back to back. Okay, now that's it for things that are on my needles. Give me a second and I'll gather everything together for my finished objects. In just a moment. I think I'm going to name this episode Hats and Hats because that's all I have finished this week are hats. As you can see, this is the Provocateur by Lee Meredith from LethalKnits.com. I'm loving the hat. I don't exactly have a hat type of head, but this one is not tight. It just feels comfortable. I'm going to get lots of wear out of this now as I have hat head. I made this from recycled yarn, from an old sweater I mentioned last week. It's an old sweater. It was falling apart, and I thought, let me see what I can do with it. Well, you can see, let me see if I can get the light just right, all the cables that just kind of work all the way around the hat. Oh, it's beautiful. She did such a good job with this. And I did this on US 6 4 millimeter, US 6 4 millimeter size needles. I love this. I had told my husband he might get it, but he's not. It's mine. I might make him one if he's nice to me. He's always nice to me. And I don't just say that because he also watches the podcast. Okay, my second thing that I got made this week is another child's chemo cap. And it depends who you are. This either could look Halloweenish or it can look like you're a Browns fan. It's not football season, but my husband pointed that out. He goes, you need to show this to somebody from our church because he's a big Browns fan. But I've lost track of how many of these I made. I've put this back into my charity knit along on Geeky Girls Knits website, which that's where I'm listing. I'm doing these for a cow, but I'm also sending this one out to California then. I've got 4 or 5 of these to go out to California. So, and I love these. It was made from Knit Picks Swish. It's a DK yarn. Sorry. I did it in, this is orange. Believe it or not, that's the name of it. And this is dough. I love both of them. And I have enough here. I'll probably make another hat out of it. I did those on US 6 size 4.5 millimeter needles. So, I still haven't heard back from my tester. I'm hoping to soon, and when I do, I will put this pattern for free on Ravelry. That's it for the things I have finished this week. Okay, let's go on to the things that make me happy. Okay, I have had quite a few things that have made me happy this past week. Not all of them are knitting related, such as the food show. I am so happy. I love going to the food show. I get, like I said, they have it two times a year. And it gives me a chance to see people that I only see at the food show. Now, another thing that makes me happy is I did not show this last week. This is my sweater that I made. Oh, I've got a bump there. Anyways, as you can see, it has kind of a wide neck, but it's also fitted as it goes down. It's beautiful, and I love wearing like tank tops underneath them. So this is a perfect one for me. It was made from Knit Picks Stroll, I believe, fingering weight yarn, and it's so soft. There's not. I haven't put a pattern out there for it. If there's interest in it, I will go ahead and post a pattern on Ravelry. I probably will not charge for it because it's a simple pattern. Okay, so if I do, it would only be $1 because it's not like there was a pattern involved with it. Now, if I make another one, I will probably put patterns in it, and then we'll see after that. Okay. So besides this sweater, I have my first pattern on Ravelry for sale. I had talked about these, and I had talked about these. This is a pair of socks. I know I have it on my hand, but that's because I wanted you to see the pattern. Actually, I guess you would see it like that. I call it Hills and Valleys, and it's just a combination of knit and pearls, which makes, you know, the little ripple effect throughout it. It has a wide toe. I worked mine two at a time on one with the magic loop. I couldn't think what it was. With the magic loop, it worked up relatively fast. Any heel could be used on it. I happen to like fish lips, but any could be used on it. So check that out. Special offer. If you introduce yourself on my Ravelry page, on the Naturally Kim's Knitting Ravelry page, and you buy the pattern, I will then give you another another one of the pattern to give to a friend. Okay? So you would just give me your friend's name and I would send it right off to them. And I put a little message that it's from you. So this would be, you know, I'll run that probably for a month, probably through April 15th. And then after that, you know, everybody has to pay. But I'm not sure. Oh, wait a minute. This is only March 17th. So I'll run that through the end of this month. I'm sorry. Forget what I said before. I'll run that special through March 30th. And then, you know, there'll be no more buy one, get one for a friend. It will just be everybody has to pay. But I love these socks. And I hope you do too. Please, if you do try them and you like them, well, let's say that you were given a pair of socks. You could then, I haven't figured all this out yet. I'll get back with you on that if it happens. If you are gifted a pair of socks, contact me. But anyways, I love these. They're great. I made them from some yarn that I have from a lady who runs an animal rescue. And she also has some sheep. I will try to put a link to her store on my show notes. I know she's called the Shepherdess, but I cannot remember the name of her store. I know she's from Ohio, and that's why I chose her in the first place. Okay, something else that has made me really happy, and I know I said this last week, but when I got to use it this week, and I saw how wonderful it was, my sunflower bag from All About Yarns. Oh my goodness. It was so nice to put my socks in here, carry these around the food show, not have to worry about losing anything. I was able to see it quickly if I needed to pick it up. It was right there. It's easy. It's wonderful. I cannot say enough about her bags. It was a great size. I was able to put my directions because I'm still rather new at Fish Lips Heels, so I wanted to make sure I had everything right, so I put those in here. My yarn, my needles, I even have some stitch markers in there. It's, you know, wonderful bag. I gave her a shout out last week, and honestly, it does make me very happy. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. The UPS man came to the door, and between the dog barking and everything else, I knew if I didn't get it, it would be too noisy for me to say anything. Anyways, so another thing that I'm tickled about, I often say that I can always tell when God has something that he really wants to bring my attention to, because my doctor hasn't confirmed that I have high cholesterol or diabetes, but there is a possibility. And because of this, I've really been paying attention to what I eat. Well, which has been great because even at the food show, I didn't want to nibble on the things that weren't good for me. So anyways, at about the time that all this was happening, I was trying to think where it came from. Oh, I am a member of Paperback Swap. Excuse me. And on Paperback Swap, if you sell a book, you can get a credit, and then you can get a book from somebody else. Well, there happened to be a healthy eating book that came up. I picked it up. Wonderful. About the same time, someplace else, I was able to get another heart healthy book inexpensively. I was listening to, excuse my dog, she's still wanting to woof woof. Um, about the same time, I noticed on Geeky Girls Knit that Cece was doing this Whole30. I don't want to call it a diet. It's actually a lifestyle. And during the first 30 days, you eliminate foods from your life, and then, not all foods, specific foods. And then during the next time period, you can start adding back little at a time to see what it is that you're eating that makes you feel ick or makes you feel inflamed, like with my arthritis. I know there's certain foods that can inflame it. So I'm going to actually start Whole30 probably this weekend, because we have to redo our menus and everything to figure out. My husband's doing it with me. If you saw my husband, you'd say, what? Because he is, as many things as I have wrong with me, he is the picture of health. So, but he is also a great support system. He has helped me through so many painful days, so many, ick days. So anyways, thanks to Cece, I learned about the Whole30 diet just about that same time. And then I also review books for an organization called Blogging for Books. And with this, they give you one book at a time. After you review it, then it's yours. It's always yours. But after you review it, then you can get another book. And 2 weeks ago, they had Healthy Fats, Low Cholesterol Cookbook. And I'm looking through this. I mean, I turned to ratatouille right here. I love ratatouille. Asparagus with dill and pine nuts. I mean, everything. I don't think I've come across a recipe in here that I will not make. And to have healthy versions of them is wonderful. Because, yes, chicken breast is good, salmon is good, but it's nice to know what else you can do besides those all the time. So there's a link for this where you can get it on Amazon. I will be reviewing it on Reading, Writing, and So Much More on my Blogger account later, either today or tomorrow. So if you want to see more about it, you can read that, or you can go to Amazon and check it out. But it's good. I'm really impressed with it. So enough of the diet. Something else that I've gotten, I haven't put this in the show notes, and I need to. I love making shawls, and I never really thought about creating them. See, I've gotten into this creative frame of mind, and all at once, I'm wanting to design. I've always got patterns in my mind now. Well, I got this book called Shawl Design. This is part 1, and it's basic shawl shapes. And it's Shawl Design in Plain English by Julia, I don't know if it's Reed or Reedy, it's R-I-E-D-E. I will put a link to it in the show notes. But with this book as my guide, I know I can design shawls. And there's 2 other books that I actually bought ebook versions of them that I'll be using to design shawls too. They have actual patterns to go with each of the ones they talk about, but they give you templates. They tell you a little bit about them. I'll probably be reviewing this book too. So anyways, shawl design makes me happy. It gets my little designing mode going, but I'm not going to be designing one until after I get the cowl done that I'm making, and something else to go with the cowl. So that is what is making me happy, plus a lot of other talking in there. So, okay, next you're going to see what it is I've been reading and watching. Okay, yes, I changed sweaters. The other one was a little bit warm. I didn't want something quite that warm on, so I just put on my little black and white cardigan. But I like the other sweater, but it was too warm for me, which is kind of nice. I mean, I don't need to have a warm sweater on right now. Yay! Okay. What I've been reading and watching. Last week, I made a mistake. I apologize to all my friends out there. Any of you who caught it, I am so sorry. I put down what made me happy twice. So I was doubly happy last week. But you didn't get to see what I was reading and watching. Now, this past week, I really haven't read and watched a whole lot new. So I may actually, I haven't decided, but don't be surprised if I have a change of clothes and I start talking about some of the things from the previous week. I might put that little section in here in addition to what I'm talking about right now, which is actually Soul Keeping is on that little blip. Soul Keeping is a book our church is reading for Lent. It's by Ortberg. And if you've ever read anything by him, oh, he's so good. I do have a link in the show notes. It's all about how to be watchful for your soul and to do what God wants you to do. You know, he created us, he gave us these souls. He has a purpose. So anyway, so there was that. Then I was reading The Seakeeper's Daughter by Lisa Wingate. If you read my book review, you'll see how much I love it. This lady goes back to her hometown. Her mother needs her to go back to this hotel that is actually that is in the girl's name, and her stepfather is living there. Her stepfather's never given the time of day to the girl or her mother, but he is there and he is injured, and so she goes there to help take care of him. And in the meantime, in the whole cleaning out of the place, she finds out his little secrets about her family's past. It's a very good book. If I could give it 20 stars on places, I would. But the thing that's been really keeping me busy, on TV a week or so ago, they were having a Harry Potter weekend, and I just love Harry Potter. And they actually had all the episodes, or all the movies. And so little by little, I've been watching those throughout the week. And so I've been busy with that. So I will probably be putting in my last week's what made me happy in here, but what I've been watching in here. But if not, you know what I've been doing this week. So, okay. I'll be right back in just a moment. Okay. This is the part of the show where I talk about the things that I've been reading or the things that I've been watching on TV. Little spoiler alert. During this time, I do talk about episodes that have been on during the past week. So if you don't want to be spoiled, I will not be insulted if you skip over this part. Okay? As far as reading, I've not made it very far in most of the books that I've read. Soul Keeping, the one that our church is reading, I've actually been keeping up on that, but I'm not far enough to actually review it. However, if you would like to see books that I have reviewed, you could always go to Blogger or to WordPress and check out Reading, Writing, and So Much More. That's what I post book reviews under. But as far as what I've been watching, I haven't seen a whole lot of new episodes this week, except I told my daughter it's very appropriate that if Downton Abbey is ending, that we should have a new Once Upon a Time this week, and we did. So, but before we do that, I want to talk about another show that is very dear to my heart, Mythbusters. As I've mentioned on this show before, I was a 5th and 6th grade teacher, and I taught science. That was one of the subjects I taught. And kids can either love science or hate science, unless there's a way to make it fun and to make it real for them. Mythbusters did that. In fact, it was one of my 6th grade students that came up to me one time and said, "Mrs. Napier, do you know why I love Mythbusters? Or why I love science?" I said, "Why?" He goes, "Because of Mythbusters." So that was when I started watching it, after his recommendation. And I would then come in the following day after watching an episode, and we would talk about the things that we saw on Mythbusters. And if the kids didn't see it, we would explain what was on there and everything. And we would explain, or we would talk about, well, why didn't this work? Or why did this work? And the kids would just get so excited, thinking that it's okay to watch television for, you know, and get something out of it. So I was very sad to see Mythbusters leaving, but had a lot of years being able to watch them, and they meant a lot to me and to my science classes. So I'll miss them, but I hope they find better things to do. Then the next show, of course, that we had to see go was Downton. The nice thing is, overall, everybody had a happy ending. And, I mean, we had a wedding, we had a baby born, Anna and Mr. Bates had a baby. Edith got married. Can't think of her name now. Oh well, Daisy has found a boyfriend. I think Mrs. Patmore might have a boyfriend too. Thomas left, but due to circumstances, Thomas Barrow, sorry, left, but due to circumstances, he came back. And he's going to become the head butler because Mr. Carson has developed palsy, and so his hands shake whenever he pours. But Lord Grantham has made a suggestion that he go ahead and stay on the property, and he will be like a statesman over all the staff, as long as Thomas agreed to that. And he did. So, you know, Barrow came back, and he had learned how to make friends among all the staff, and so that his whole relationship has changed. Carson's taken care of, his wife's taken care of. So good. Oh, and Branson, Thomas Branson, and Mary's husband are going into business together, where they're going to be car salesmen. They both have loves of cars. They could not find the right place for them to be. They opened up their own car dealership. So, yay! So, anyways, that was my Downton Abbey. When it got over, I texted my daughter and said, now I need to purchase seasons 3 through 6 because I have 1 and 2. And she goes, I need them all. So I said, I can foresee future Christmas gifts being presenting Downton Abbeys to each other. But I did cry a lot during Downton. But then I also smiled because of the happy endings. Now another show, like I said, I was very happy that Once Upon a Time started back up this week. On Once Upon a Time, Storybrooke, I'm looking at my show notes because I don't want to forget anything. You would think after doing this yesterday and the show not being able to be transmitted, I would learn what I was going to say, but no. Anyways, so this is a brand new season. Storybrooke is in the underworld, or it is the underworld. Emma decided she needed to get Hook back, and so she was going to go to the underworld and bring him back. Well, of course, everybody who's anybody in Storybrooke had to go with her. It started off with her waking up in her old yellow Volkswagen, and Neil was in the back seat, her ex-boyfriend, Neil, who had passed. And he was trying to talk her out of going to the underworld, and she goes, you know I have to go. And he goes, I knew you would, but I had to try. And she asked if she would see him there, and he goes, no, I'm in a better place. But while they're in the underworld, Regina sees her mother. Her mother has told her to go and abandon this whole plot to get Hook back, or else her mother would hurt Regina's father, who is also down there. Anybody who's in the underworld has unfinished business. It could be good, it could be bad, but they have unfinished business. So, Cora tried to talk Regina into going back without the rest of the group. Regina's father, Henry, the father, not the grandson, told her that nothing would make him happier than for her to stay with her group and help them fulfill this mission. And so, of course, Cora went after Henry with fire. And you see those fires twirling and twirling around, but then it kind of died down, and this bright light shone, and that was the bright light that he was supposed to follow to go to a better place. He was such a good person. Anyways, some other things that we saw there. We saw the spinning wheel for Rumple. We also saw the chipped cup. Belle's and Rumple's chipped cup. We saw Peter Pan, who was Rumple's father. Trying to see what else. Oh, can't forget this. While they were trying to get all the darkness out of Hook, Rumple played a trick and pulled all the darkness into himself. So he has the power of all the dark ones in him right now. It's going to be a very interesting season, I believe. So I think that's it for what I've seen and read this week. Like I said, it's been a short week, but actually it's only one day shorter. I just was so upset yesterday from not being able to get things recorded that I didn't get a lot else done. Okay, just a moment, and I'll be right back with announcements and other things. Okay, this is where I like to make my announcements, and if there's anything miscellaneous that I need to share with you, this is where I put it. I do want to stress the importance of signing in on my Ravelry page. I am hoping next month to start a knit-along, but only those who are signed into my Ravelry page are going to be allowed to participate. Now, another thing I would love to do is see pictures of finished objects. If you share them with me on Instagram, where I'm Knittin' Kim, or on my Ravelry page, on my Naturally Kim's Knitting Ravelry page, or where I will be glad to, I'll pick out the best ones that are posted, and maybe we can share them during this segment. Otherwise, don't forget about my special on the sock. The sock is $3, the sock pattern, but if you buy one, you can then gift one to a friend. Just let me know who the friend is, and I'll make sure they get it. Okay? Otherwise, I think that's all the announcements this week. I should be back next week. Hopefully I'll be able to post on a day earlier than this week, because with the food show I wasn't able to do this. I came home last night so tired. Anyways, you'll be able to find me on Ravelry under Napier's Knits. Now I did change this. It's now Napier's Knits. So it's NAPIERS KNITS, or Naturally Kim's Knitting. There's links for both those on the show notes. On Twitter, at KSNapier475. Instagram, Knittin_Kim. So it's KNITTIN_KIM. YouTube, you should be able to find me under Naturally Kim's Knitting. WordPress, all one word. WordPress and Blogger are where I have my show notes. So at either one of, if you go to either one of those are where you're going to find the links. So WordPress, it's Naturally Kim's Knitting, all one word, NATURALLYKIMSKNITTING.wordpress.com. And then on Blogger, it's Naturally, Kim's Knitting. Okay? Any of those places, you can find me any of those. Leave me a message. I'll get back with you. I don't check Twitter as often as I do Ravelry, Instagram, and all those. But I do check it once in a while. Okay. Please leave me comments at the end of this. Let me know how you liked it. Big hugs to everybody. And I love you all. Have a great week, and I hope you have wonderful, wonderful adventures with knitting. Bye-bye.